Hello, everyone. We have Dr. Will Morland, who is very specialized in providing training solutions that any organizations that need to create inclusive cultures of diversity and understanding within the organization or even smaller teams. So I have been noticing him providing a lot of content in social media, as well as I could see how he has been connecting with various professionals through his platforms. It's quite inspiring. So I take this opportunity to talk with Mr. Will Moreland so that I could share some inspiring and informative content insights from him. So welcome, Doctor.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Been looking really forward to our time together.
Great. So I know about you a lot, but I want my listeners also to know about your story. What is your story, please?
Yeah, so thank you for that. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to be here and talk to your audience. As I get older, my story gets longer, so I'll try to shorten it. For the last 25 years since I left the United States military, I was in the military for 8 years. I was in the Army. And that's where I really got passionate about leadership development and personal development. And so once I left the military, I started a consultant company where we go all around the world, even places like India. As I was sharing with you, I've been to Chennai, I've been to Mumbai, I've been to Andhra Pradesh. I get to travel literally all around the world and work with organizations, work with leaders, work with executives, and help them build themselves up as leaders and help them with their personal development. We help them with their employees. And what we try to do is expand the employee to not just be an employee, but to become a partner of the organization, because when your employees become partners, your organization becomes more powerful. So for the last 25 years, I've been able to travel all around the world and share my message of civility. And it's a message where I believe that everybody needs to hear, because if you're going to be successful in this world, you have to learn how to appreciate humanity. And that's what civility teaches us to do, appreciate humanity. So, in a short way, that's what I've been doing for the last 25 years.
That is some story, actually. Yeah. So you have been in both the military setup as well as corporate setup, right? So what is the difference you find comparing with military leadership and corporate leadership?
That's a great question. So when you look at military leadership is what I would consider a more structured leadership, meaning that individuals inside the military, they are made, for lack of a better term, they're made to follow the leader. As in corporate America, you have to inspire people to follow you. So just because in corporate you have a title doesn't mean people are going to follow you. Whereas in the military, because of your title, people follow you. But inside the military, great leaders understand, even though individuals are made to follow them, they want to turn that into inspired leadership. And so you don't want people just to follow you because they have to follow you. You want people to follow you because they want to follow you.
So in either case, can I take it that you need both influence and inspiration?
That is a perfect way to put it. And so when we look at influence in leadership in its simple definition, that's what leadership is. It's influence. And so when I work with my organizations and I work with my clients, the question that I always ask is, what type of leader do you want to be? Because everybody is a leader, because everybody has influence. whether you're a brother, a father, a sister, a mother, a cousin, a auntie, a uncle, you have influence. So the basic fact that you have influence means that you are a leader. So the question is not if you are a leader, the question is, what type of leader do you want to be?
That is exactly I would like to hear from you because you have some unique insights that you have been spreading across the world, right? So, in line to that, you have been also known for talking about happy workplace culture. Okay, what are the two key components, according to you, does happy workplace culture have?
Yeah, so any individual that starts a company, starts an organization, that should be one of the first questions that they ask themselves. What type of culture do we want? So when we have people coming into this office, what do we want this office? What do we want this building? What do we want this organization to represent? So what do we want it to represent? So number one, I believe leaders need to be intentional. They need to be intentional about creating a good culture. And the second thing, they need to have measurements. They need to be able to actually measure if what they want is actually happening. And so a lot of times when you go into offices and you go into organizations, we have cute little signs on the wall and we have our mission statements and we have our vision statements, but they're just words. What are we doing to bring those words to life? And so you have to be intentional. And so if we say we want this workplace, I want this place to be a place where people feel good. I want this place to be a place where people feel empowered. I want this place to be a place where people feel that their ideas are heard, that they can be innovative, that they don't have to be afraid to make a mistake, that I want them to take risks. I want them to try new things, but then I need to measure it. I need to make sure that exactly what I want to happen is happening. And the best way to do that, and a lot of leaders are intimidated to do this, but it's to ask for feedback. You got to ask for feedback. You know, as a leader, you can have an intention, and in your mind, you can say, this is what I want to happen, but it's not happening. And so you have to get that feedback. You have to ask your employees, this is what I think is going on. Is this what really is going on?
Okay, great. So, as you say on the creating happy workplace culture, we are asked to follow some hierarchy, right? So, in this hierarchy system, the change, who is going to lead the change? Is it we are going to have a top to bottom approach or bottom to top approach? Who will be leading that positive workplace change?
Great question. So it's initiated by the top. It's initiated by the leader, but it has to be embraced by everybody, right? It has to be embraced by everybody. So the culture is initiated. The vision and the mission is initiated by the leader, but that leader needs to understand that if the employees, the team doesn't embrace, if they don't embrace what the vision and mission is, then it's not going to work. And so for this to happen, when leaders are speaking, when leaders are speaking, they have to realize that their teams and their employees, if they don't feel as though the company, the organization cares about them, going back to civility and humanity, if they don't feel that the organization leadership cares about them, then they won't care about whatever the leadership is saying. There's a saying that we say here in America: people don't care what you say until they know that you care about them. And so, one of the major jobs of a leader is to ensure that it's people over processes. A lot of times, leaders focus on processes and outcomes rather than focusing on people. Whenever I've been in an organization and I've been working with teams, when I've ensured that my team knows that I care about them, then they care about what I care about, the numbers, the bottom line, the outcomes, and the results of the organization.
Yes, I would like to stress on that point, people and process here, because I can hear a lot of time the leaders complain that I know what I'm expecting from my subordinates. I have told my subordinates what to be done and what has to be accomplished, but I'm not getting what I want from them. I'm doing a lot for them, but they are not doing anything for me. That question has
Mhm.
always been there with some weak leaders, I believe.
Mhm. Yeah, so there's a book called Good to Great by Jim Collins. And in this book, Good to Great, Jim Collins talks about um, employee culture and making sure you have the right people on the bus. But another thing that he highlights is for leaders to go beyond position. And what I mean by that is there's Will, the HR guy, or there's Will, the IT guy. And most leaders stop there. They only see Will as the IT guy, but they really don't know Will. They don't know what makes Will tick. They don't know what Will is concerned about. And for every employee walks into a job more concerned with themselves than they are concerned about the particular job. For most employees, initially, they're just there for the paycheck. I'm here for a certain amount of hours to get paid. I'm not here to grow the company. I'm not here to make the company bigger. I don't really care about the bottom line. I only care about the bottom line as long as it can keep paying me my paycheck. But as a leader, if you're intentional about finding out about will, and this is not an easy task. I want you to listen to me, leaders. This is not an easy task. This is why you have to go over and above and be intentional about it. So I know there may be some leaders telling me right now, I don't have time to do that. It's not the culture to do that. But if you really want to build amazing teams that really are tied into the bottom line, where I say going from an employee to a partner of the organization, you're going to have to make the time to get to know Will, to get to know your different employees. You're going to have to find out what does Will like to do outside of this job? Who is Will outside of this job? Oh, Will is a husband. Oh, he's a father. Oh, he's a grandfather. Oh, he likes to play cricket. Oh, he likes to play football. And now, when my employee sees me making that connection and they know that I care about them beyond the task, beyond the job title, when I then ask that employee to go over and above because they want to honor me, because they want to respect me, they're more apt to do that than just if I keep it transactional.
That is fantastic. So, what is your take on empowering the employees to take ownership of their work and contribute to a positive work culture?
Yeah, so that's one of the big philosophies that we teach from employee to partner. That's where you want to get every employee into that mindset that they're not just working for the company, they're working with the company. And if you can get employees to work with the company. So how is this accomplished? This is accomplished by getting every employee to see how they fit in the bigger picture. See, it's a lot of times it's easy for employees to get lost, right? If you're in the warehouse, if you're in the factory, it's easy to get lost in how what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis is really making a difference. So once again, to the leader, that's why you have this type of responsibility. To the leader, it's your responsibility to get every team member to see and understand. And you can only do this through conversations, right? You have to have conversations. And then you have to delegate to them certain roles and certain responsibilities so they can have a sense of ownership, so they can have a sense of responsibility, so they can know what they're doing on a day-to-day basis. Even if you're just answering phone, even if you're sweeping out the bathroom, every part matters. Every part matters. And one of the illustrations that I like to use is if you think about a car, right? If you think about a car, everybody sees the external part of the car. Everybody sees the tires. Everybody can see the interior, and everybody gets excited about the wood grain panel and the color of the car and how shiny it looks. No one gets to see the engine. And without that engine, that car doesn't get to go anywhere. No one gets to see the spark plug. The spark plug looks very insignificant. When you see it, it's just a little device. It looks very insignificant. But if you remove that spark plug, that vehicle, that car doesn't move. That's how our organizations are. Some of the most important people in our organizations you'll never see. It looks like they're playing a small role, but that small role is a significant role, because if they didn't do that, then this doesn't work. And if this doesn't work, that doesn't work. And if that doesn't work, this doesn't work. And ultimately, we can't serve our clients. And so everybody in the organization needs to know how valuable they are inside that organization.
What you're talking is actually need of the hour now, because I can see many organizations struggle with one common issue. What is that? That issue is they have a beautifully narrated vision and mission. Okay, but that aspiration stops with the top level. The bottom level never bothers about what's the vision of the company. Okay, yes, it has been written all over the office and everybody knows it, but it's still on the paper. It's not on anybody's mind or heart. Okay, so that buying of a vision is what missing, I think, in many of the unsuccessful or growing organizations. What do you say about it?
Yeah, so as an organization grows, if you start with the founder of an organization or a company, that founder started with a purpose, started with a reason. He or she had a mission. As your organization grows, as it gets bigger, you get further and further and further away from that vision, from that mission. Just off the top of my head, if you think about an organization like Hilton Hotels, so Hilton Hotels was started by Mr. Hilton. When he started for a particular reason. Let's say that reason was he noticed a problem that travelers that were going from one state to another state didn't have a place to rest. So he wanted to provide a solution. So if you're going from New York to California, when you get to Texas, you need to sleep. You need to get some rest. So I'm going to start the Hilton Hotel. I'm going to start the Hilton Hotel. And so that's what it was built on. When someone would come in, he would smile at them and say, "Thank you for coming to Hilton Hotel. We're so glad that you're here. Hope you have a great night's sleep," right? But now he does that hotel in Texas, but now Oklahoma says, "Hey, we need one of those. We need one of those." So then he goes and he puts one in Oklahoma. Then New Mexico, they say, "Wait, we need one." Now remember, at the first one in Texas, Mr. Hilton was there. Mr. Hilton was there so he could greet everybody. So now the issue becomes, can he reproduce that in Oklahoma and New Mexico? Can he hire somebody that's going to greet everybody the way he would greet everybody? Now you get to 500 Hilton hotels. How do you keep that fabric? How do you keep that feeling? Because now we have moved from a little company to this big company. Now we have a board. Now we have shareholders who have bought stock into the company. And their mission is to grow the company and to make more money. That's far from the mission of what Mr. Hilton started the company for. So how do we keep providing excellent service, and how do we keep making a profit? So what has to happen, leadership has to continuously communicate what the value of the organization is, as well as the importance of making a profit. And the best leaders are able to do this. How do we provide value? How do we make a profit? How do we provide value? How do we make a profit? That becomes the balancing act of great leaders. And when you understand how to do that, that's when your company can grow. That's when employees are happy, and also clients and customers are happy at the same time. There's no one right way to do it. I do know it starts with communicating over and over and over, constantly communicating that we want to provide value, but we also want to make a profit. For the employees, when you talk about profit, it makes them think, oh, all we care about is money. All we
Money.
care about is money. So you got to get them to understand, well, there is no job if we don't make a profit. If we don't make a profit, there is no job. So it's a this is the excitement to me about leadership. This is the excitement to me about growing organization. This is the internal game that every leader has to play. How do I make my employees happy? How do I make my shareholders and my clients happy? And the best of leaders, they figure out how to do it.
Yes, so the constant and consistent communication also play a key role here in this. Great. So, before I close, one more question I would like to ask with you. Uh,
Yes.
can you say what is actually you find, or even one or two, some common pitfalls leaders should avoid when trying to create a happy culture?
Yeah, so some of the common causes that I see when I go into organizations is, as I said earlier, when we focus so much on profit versus the health of our people and acknowledging our people, not understanding that without our amazing people that we have no business. And so for that leader, it's once again that tightrope of understanding that we need to be profitable, but understanding there are no profits without people. And so I encourage all the leaders that I work with to take it upon themselves to learn behavior, right? Learn the psychology of employees, understanding that every employee is not motivated by the same thing, understanding that what makes one employee happy as it relates to maybe getting a financial bonus where someone else just wants to be acknowledged. Maybe they want a certificate. And so what is the language of happiness of your team and of your employees, learning each and when you're doing the quarterly assessments and the yearly assessments, not just checking off the box and writing a whole bunch of stuff on a piece of paper, but really getting to know your employees. I really believe that when you get a deeper knowledge of your employees, they'll be better engaged and they'll be more apt to helping you build out the bottom line.
Great. Thank you so much. And one last thing. What is that one question you would expect me to ask, and what would be the answer for that?
Oh man, that is a great question. Let's see here, real quick. Usually I get a question about legacy, like what do I want my legacy to be? And for me, the answer to that question is I just want to be known as an individual that empowered other people to become the best versions of themselves.
That's quite inspiring and encouraging as well, because many people are going to listen this and get inspired on your journey as well as the insights what you have given to us today. And I'm sure people from across the world will be listening this and getting at least a 10 percentage of this episode they take away and use it in their life.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a
Thank you so
fantastic
much.
time.
Thank you so much for joining with us. This is Leading Self and Others.